This is the trailhead parking lot for the Lamar Rocky Fork State Park, where I'm getting ready to start an overnight solo backpacking trip to the Headwaters campsite, one of three. Rocky Fork is a wonderful place surrounded by mountains and other protected areas, and a great place to backpack. Here are a couple maps showing where I hike. First, a GPX track of my hiking route, and then a state park map, starting in both cases on the right, going to the campsite on the left.
Rocky Fork Creek off to my left is really beautiful. Moss-covered rocks, a lot of water right now, and totally woods all around. It's just a beautiful hike. Going up the Rocky Fork Trail that I'm on now. And the waterfalls and rapids start immediately after you leave the parking lot. Here I'm turning off the Rocky Fork Trail onto the White Oak Flats Trail, and pretty easy so far, but now starting to climb, although the trail is still pretty good. It's an old road. Well, I really just screwed up. I was stopped and took a break sitting on that log right there, and when I got up, somehow stupidly I went back that way when I had already come that way. Walked maybe a little over 1/10 of a mile, maybe even, and realized I was going downhill and should be going uphill. So I turned around, and here I am again, having wasted 15 minutes or so. Right here is just an incredible overlook, Mirador in Spanish. Just got back from Spain, but the trail goes on up that way. Came up from there. Way down there is where I came from, several hundred feet for sure. So let me show you what the view is from. There's the view. Way down there is where I came from. And I-26 is somewhere way over there, going over from Johnson City to Asheville. And those are the rocks, is it white rocks, I think, that a trail goes up to the top of. Really spectacular view. Everything you're looking at until you get down there, way down, is part of Rocky Fork State Park, and of course behind me is National Forest, and to the left and right. So just a wonderful area. You can even hear Rocky Fork a little down below here. And the trail continues. I'm heading for the Headwaters campsite, which is the designated campsite. Only has one tent pad, so should not be anybody else there. No flowers so far, much, but all of a sudden here I am seeing some mountain laurel. As I get higher in elevation, of course. Here's the next trail junction. The Birchfield Pond Trail, I think that is, goes up to the right there. I've hiked it. It goes to a pond that was built for when they were to fight fires with, or maybe when they were timbering. It's a great hike, but hard. And I'm continuing to the left, and now I'm going to be on what's called the Headwaters Trail, which goes up and over a ridge and down to Rocky Fork. But between here and there is the designated campsite where I'm going to be camping, the Headwaters campsite. I'm within a half a mile or less of the campsite, and this is the last water, so I stopped at this tiny creek. And actually, right there is a quite good little pool that I could dip water out of. And here is the turnoff for the Headwaters Trail backcountry campsite. Here is the campsite. That's the bare box there. And over this way is the campsite. Looks like a fire ring And somewhere there's a tent pad. And there is the pad. God, right on the edge. But a nice place, birds and quiet, and nobody else going to be here within miles, I guess. It's around 4 o'clock. I'm being serenaded by, according to Maryland, the bird software, probably a red-eyed vireo. And there's a little peak right there, and I'm on the ridge coming down from the peak. And I'm about 3,100 feet, hiked around 2.5 miles. So time to set up my tent, and I've thought about hiking on out the trail, which goes down to Rocky Fork, but I'm not sure I've got time, but I may do it. A little after 5, and I've got my tent up, and the pads are really not big enough. They the tent kind of sticks over on two sides, and my tent, it's a two-person, but it's not a big tent, so they should have been bigger. But anyway, got that up, got stuff ready to cook. So I'm going to head out. Down there's Rocky Fork, and it's gradually rising in elevation, and the trail I'm on is gradually dropping. So somewhere up there we should meet. Here's Rocky Fork, and I didn't know there was going to be a bridge here. So we'll cross it. And at this point, I think I'm leaving, close to leaving the Rocky Fork, Lamar Alexander State Park, and going into Forest Service land. The creek is still pretty big up here. One reason I wanted to come down here was see if there are any campsites, like right there might be okay for 1 or 2 tents, where you can camp in the forest, in the national forest, without reservations and so forth. Yep, I'm in the national forest now. There's the national forest, Cherokee National Forest boundary marker. Everything up there is in the Cherokee. And back there, across the bridge, is in the state park. At this point, the trail splits, and that trail goes way on up to the top of the mountain, and a place called Buzzard Rock, and then the AT. Wonderful places. In the past, when my legs were better, I hiked all over up there. So that trail, unnamed, I think, maybe just call it Rocky Fork Trail, goes that way, whereas the main trail that people use, I guess, is this one, which is the Block Stand Creek Trail, and which goes over and connects with some other of the park trails. Around 6:30, I'm back at camp, ready for dinner. Great little platform to set on there, and pretty good tent site down there. Towards 7 o'clock, and I'm getting ready for dinner. Boiling water. Dinner tonight is good to go. Classic marinara. And the birds are really serenading me. It's, again, I think it's the same one as before, the red-eyed vireo. Well, for me at least, the freeze-dried food is awful, and so I am having some cheese crackers, peanut and cheese crackers, and maybe a Kind bar. These things are my emergency rations, and it's almost 8 o'clock, and the sun is getting ready to set, although the formal setting of the sun is not until 8:30, I think, down in the valley. With the sun setting, I'm getting a fire started. very quiet. The birds have stopped chirping, and you can kind of hear the creek way in the distance. That's about it. That's a barred owl somewhere near my tent. It's a bit cool this morning, maybe around 50 degrees, not cold though. Beautiful morning, all blue sky. And the vireo is up there serenading me all this morning since 6 o'clock. A lot of time in the tent. Got into the tent around 9 and then got up around 7 just a few minutes ago. And to ward off the chill, I've got a little fire started. Somewhere up there is a red-eyed vireo, or maybe several of them. As I'm cooking breakfast, this campsite has a privy, which is nice. Although they faced it toward the campsite, although there's a little door there, but should have been facing the other way. But the really strange thing, there's no hole underneath. The crapper is there, and there's no hole down there. The crap goes simply right on top of the ground. That is an incredibly strange privy. A privy without a hole. In addition to the privy down there, they've got a bear box, which is also very nice. They tell you on the internet that you need a code to get in, but you really don't. The code thing is not working. The padlock, you just do that and it opens. Around 9 o'clock, I'm getting ready to leave. And if I was naming this campsite like my friend Tippy Walter does, I would call it the Red-Eyed Vireo Camp. They're just going wild up there, almost all the time except in the dark of night. Lots of birds. I think this one is a wood thrush. At this point, Rocky Fork is way, way down below the trail. You can hear it way down there. Well, I'm coming up on the overlook that I saw yesterday. Let's see what it looks like in the morning. And there's that wonderful view. Well, I just looked it up on the map, and of course the Appalachian Trail runs along the top. Big Bald, which is a beautiful bald, grassy bald, is right there. And I-26 is just on the other side of those ridges right there. So they hit it pretty well. Not intentionally, I don't suppose, but it's there. And White Rocks is there, but you can't hardly see it. Beautiful when the sun is on it. And Rocky Fork trailhead is right down there somewhere. This is the steepest part of the trail here. Still not too bad, but overall, between start and the campsite, I gained somewhere over 500 feet. And much of that elevation gain is right here. Back down on the Rocky Fork Creek. I've decided that there probably wasn't a railroad here in the past, some of the turns are too narrow, and they would have straightened them out, like right here. So instead, it was logging trucks, roads for logging trucks that are really. Yeah, a train could not have made this turn here, I don't think. It's almost 11:15, and I'm just about to the trailhead. It's right there. A great hike in Rocky Fork State Park. One of our better parks as far as I'm concerned. Over there is the easy to get to overlook, and I decided to go on up to the harder one. 800 feet it says, ascend 150 feet, plus already I've ascended 30 or 40 feet or so at this point. But it provides an incredible view of Rocky Fork, which is out that way, so it's worth doing.
After the backpack, I stopped at the Flint Mountain Scenic Overlook on I-26. There's a lower one shown here that's easy to get to, and a harder one that requires a pretty tough climb.
There's I-26, the overlook parking lot, and I'm only a third of the way up, I guess, at this point, at the most. And this trail goes up to the overlook. Well, finally, here's the top. That's a tough climb. And hopefully the view is worth it. Doesn't get a lot of use, I don't think. Grass growing through the benches there. But a hell of a view. Everything you see out there mountain-wise is part of Rocky Fork State Park or Cherokee National Forest. And I think that's right there is the tail end of Coal Spring or Ball Mountains, which continue on around. Appalachian Trail is up there. That's a wonderful place to hike. And then down below is where I was camping. Flint Mill, or Flint Mountain right there. And the state park entrance is off to the right and goes up. All the trails go up that valley up through there. And Sampson Mountain Wilderness is on the other side. There's a scenic area over there. So just a huge protected area.